So if you're in a relationship and somebody is saying, why can't you trust me? Why can't you just get over it? Why can't you just forgive me? This is why. This is what needs to happen before you can fully trust somebody. Again, especially somebody who's harmed you.
Welcome back to another episode of Till the Wheels Fall Off. I'm Matt.
I'm Paige.
Our theme this week is going to be trust. I had an episode on Monday. This is Wednesday. This is our regular release date. We're talking about trust. Probably the most common question we get is, how do you trust again?
Yep.
How do you trust somebody again? And I talked about my perspective on that and what the person who has done the betraying in the relationship can do to rebuild trust. Talked about a lot of ways to go about that. In this episode, Paige is going to focus on her experience and what it was like for her. Oftentimes, we've referenced things being rebuilt in layers. I think that's been a pretty common theme of yours.
Yes. Anytime anybody asks me about trust, it's been really difficult to put something together to let them understand that trust was rebuilt in layers. Like, it's not like I trusted you in everything at all at once. It came out in layers. So today I actually broke down different layers of trust and what it looks like to help you understand what you should be looking for within rebuilding trust within a relationship.
I think it's going to be super helpful because it is sort of it's a hard to grasp concept to say built in layers.
Yeah.
I think people kind of know what that means, but what does it actually mean? We're going to run you through it today and tell you what those layers were and what that was like and what her experience was through it. And this can be really beneficial for spouses and partners and people who are in recovery as well, as you're rebuilding trust in a relationship. Show you kind of how it worked in our experience. Hey, if you don't know what SoberLink is by now, I hope you do. SoberLink is a sponsor of our show. They've been a proud sponsor of our show now for quite some time, and they've been an amazing partner. If you don't know what SoberLink does, they are the ultimate accountability device providers. It's a breathalyzer, okay? But it's just so much more than that. It wouldn't be fair to say it's just a breathalyzer. It's a device that if you're someone who's trying to rebuild trust in a relationship, provides you the tool, the ultimate tool to do that. You choose sober contacts, people in your circle. So it could be, like, for me, it would be Paige, and maybe it's like a sponsor or a therapist or someone like that, or some friends that are really supporting my sobriety, my recovery. And you set them up and you set up intervals to use the device. So it might be 2 to 3 times a day. And it lets them know that you're sober. It takes a conversation and this weird awkwardness off the table. If I come in a little late from work and I'm kind of acting funny because I'm stressed and I haven't actually had a drink, but your relationship's still not on the firm footing where they can approach you without feeling like you're going to come back at them and get argumentative. Listen, it just takes all of that out of the equation. You've already agreed to blow into the device. You blow into the device and you're good to go. It's showing people that you're serious about it. People often say, things are different this time. Okay, well, what's actually different? SoberLink can be the thing that makes this time different. It's going to force accountability in your life. For better or for worse, it's going to show people if you're serious about this or not. It can be incredibly useful for that purpose. Another great use of SoberLink is in custody battles. If your children are going somewhere where you're not 100% sure that they're going to be safe, SoberLink is for you. I don't know if there's any way I would do this if I were in that situation, knowing that my children were going to be going somewhere and I wasn't 100% sure they were going to be in the care of someone who's sober and responsible and that you can actually trust. You can get these things written into your custody agreements. It's court admissible in all 50 states and in Canada. It's trusted by over 200,000 people. It is the gold standard in court. They're very familiar with it. So regardless if you're trying to rebuild trust or you're at the point of no return and you're just trying to make sure that your kids are going somewhere safe, SoberLink is there for you with people on standby 24/7, along with military-grade facial recognition technology, so you can trust the person who's supposed to be using that device is the person using the device. SoberLink is giving listeners of our show 50% off a device by going to the website soberlink.com/wheels. Enter your email address and they will send you a voucher for 50% off a device. It's an amazing offer. Again, it's soberlink.com/wheels.
So SoberLink would actually be a great tool with the first layer that we're going to talk about, which is sobriety safety.
Yeah.
So there are 4 layers. And I honestly, I feel like I could talk about these for a long time. I could probably add on different layers or whatnot, but we're just going to talk about 4 different layers. And the first one is going to be sobriety safety. And that means that I trust that you're not using. And that is the first thing that you did to rebuild trust within our relationship when you got home from treatment. So what does that mean? Like, what exactly does it look like? It means it looks like you're being honest about your recovery. You're taking accountability. So if you were to use SoberLink, we didn't have that back then. That wasn't an option or anything like that. That would have been a good opportunity for you to use that. And you'd been like, look, I'm clean. Everything's good. That would help rebuild that trust from the first stage, the first layer. And like you mentioned on your episode that you released on Monday, that safety is the number one thing that you need to have in order to build trust, right?
Yeah.
Is that correct? Like have a safe environment, right?
You have to create safety, emotional safety and physical safety.
Right. But this is going to be more about just the sobriety safety, because without that, you can't trust somebody who is an addict or an alcoholic who has a problem with substances. You can't trust them. So this is where you build that trust up, is with the sober stuff. So it's the foundation of all of the trust. And without it, nothing else can begin. Like, you can't do the other things without this stuff. You can't build that emotional safety yet until you have this.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about a week of sobriety. Like, I'm talking about like a long period of time.
You mentioned something at the beginning, is like, I went to treatment. For a lot of people, that's sort of their first way of showing people that they're serious about trying to do something different, is going to treatment. You know, they're committing to a process with the facility.
They're willing
of some kind. Yeah. They're willing to put forth some effort and, dedicate, in a lot of cases, it's 30 days to getting themselves out of their environment and filling their head with tools and learning different processes and different ways to get sober. And then when you get out, how you maintain that sobriety, you're introduced to a variety of concepts. And for us, that was like the first step. I remember like when I first came clean about my problem and how bad things had really gotten, my idea from the very beginning was I need to go to rehab. I need to go to treatment. That was the first thing that came to my mind, because A, I needed help to get off the substance. I needed to detox. And then B was like, I'm serious. I have to go somewhere and learn this. It was my way of saying, I can't figure this out on my own anymore. And it's not to say that not sobriety, but treatment's a fix all, because there are plenty of people that go in those places and aren't serious. Don't get me wrong. There are a lot of people that look at that. I talked to a guy today. This is wild. I was at a treatment center this evening speaking to a bunch of patients, and it was great. It's always a privilege to be able to do that. There's this guy who had just checked in the day before, and he had gotten out of treatment 2 days ago.
Wait, what?
2 days ago, he was in treatment.
Okay.
Left early.
He left early.
Yeah. From the west side of the state, drove into our part of the state and relapsed and went back into a different treatment center the next day.
Okay.
Basically checked. So what I'm saying is while it does mean something, it's really what you make of it. I'll say
right. That. And that's not where I built the trust of the sobriety safety. It's what you did when you got home. It
comes with a lot of other things, as we'll discuss here in a minute. Like, recovery is not rehab. It's not rehab. That's a place that you go to learn some tools, and
it's a long-term detox facility to help you like get off of the substance, learn a couple of tools, and then go into reality. Yeah. Reality is where the real work is.
Yeah, but you're right. Like, I think in the very beginning, like, you just caught the grill on fire. I was just thinking about this.
I did not know that was going to be brought up in this episode, but all right.
Yo,
let's have this conversation.
I'm generally in charge of grilling. I don't know why it worked that way. It's like, I don't know.
I used to grill though.
But we got a new grill and I've been grilling on it. It's my thing. I like it. I enjoy cooking on the grill. It's fun. You're outside and it's just like, I don't know, it's primitive. I like it. But
I enjoy it too. Well, Paige, I enjoyed my old grill.
Paige decided that she was going to grill tonight. And so she put some burgers on there. She put some jalapenos that were wrapped in bacon. I didn't realize this, but she put them on there and just closed it and walked away. And
I put a timer on. Okay.
She comes to get me and she's like, I think you need to open this because it's like really hot. And so
it was at 700 degrees. And one time when I'm just going to pause you for a moment before I do this and tell you why I need you to open it. Because I had started a grill years ago and it got really, really high and I didn't realize it. But when I opened it, air got into it. So the fire just went right in my face.
So you'd rather get my eyebrows burned than yours?
So
That's
yeah,
fair.
I was
That's totally
like,
fair,
wait,
man.
Matt, I don't want to open this because you might know what you're doing better than me.
I've opened a burning grill a time or two, but anyway, I opened this grill and the flames are just shooting out of this damn thing.
You handled it like a champ.
It's not my first go around with the burning grill, but either way, it's just in that immediate moment, the most important thing is to get this fire out. We'll worry about the meat that's cooked on this damn thing in a minute. We'll worry about cleaning up the charred sides of the paint on the grill, and
We'll have to post a
if
picture
it
of
burned
this.
the screen on the window behind it, or charred the wood, all these other issues. And these are things like trust and safety and like partnership being equal in some ways, domestic duties being shared.
We'll
Like
get through that.
in the beginning, you got to put the fire out. Right. We have to get that fire out. And then the
That's
very
what you
beginning,
have to focus
that's
on.
what we need to focus on. So I think the first way you can create safety is getting sober.
You're so good at putting those things together.
I don't think that's a talent by
It's
any
a
means.
fucking talent.
I think
And
it's a
I love
talent.
it. It's a beautiful talent. Like my brain does not function like
I'm
that.
so glad that you're easily entertained by that kind of stuff, because that just guarantees me a job in this marriage for the next 24 years.
This is something that you've always been able to do, and it just blows my mind. Like, I don't know how you do that, but it's incredible. But anyway, yes, like you have to put that fire out first, which means that you have to get sober first. It takes longer than putting a fire out. So let's be real.
Oh, we got that thing out quick.
Hey, we handled that really well.
Yeah.
We did.
You good?
Yeah, I'm good. Okay, so can we go into this now? Are you
Yeah,
done? All right.
let's do it.
Okay, so yeah, the first step is obviously get sober, but it's not like, okay, yeah, you're sober for a month, everything's good, I can trust you in that. No. There were actions that Matt took when he got home that made me feel safe that he was being serious about his sobriety, which meant that, you know, you didn't believe that relapse was part of recovery. Like that was not a thing for you. Like you came home and you're just like, no, I'm not going to do that. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do this. I'm serious about it. And you were. You went to 90 meetings in 90 days. You went to IOP. You got a sponsor. You were starting to take care of yourself. You didn't expect me to make any changes within myself. Like you weren't like, hey, you need to go do this now because I'm doing this. It wasn't anything like that. It was more like you were taking responsibility of your own life. Like you were taking care of yourself. You would come home and talk to me about what you were learning. You were excited. Like you were excited in early recovery, but you would have moments where you were like, I'm struggling. Like I had a really hard day at work today and I can't take anything, Paige. And that's really hard for me.
Yeah.
And I allowed you to have that space. Like I didn't shame you. I didn't like make you feel bad for feeling that way. It was more like I'm here for you if you need anything, you know, go call your sponsor, go work out, go to a meeting, go do whatever you need to do.
Or
Because
sometimes
I
you
know
just
that's
be there
really
to listen
challenging.
and just let me vent.
Yeah, I would. It was hard. It was hard sometimes. And I understood that. Like I'm like, I get it. I'm going to be here for you through that. Like that's cool. You didn't expect me to do anything like that, but that's just how our relationship was. But you were building that trust, that safety and sobriety first because you were proving to me that you were serious about being sober. And that's the number one thing that has to be done.
I hate to put you on the spot here.
It's
I know
okay.
you love that so
Well, I'll
freaking
let you know
much,
if I
but
can answer it or not.
Can you put a time frame to some of this stuff? I can just see a listener wondering like
The first year.
rough projection of like
The
time
first
frame.
year.
So it's not the first month, the first 90 days. It's like
No.
within that first year.
No, within that first year, and it was consistent. You were very, very consistent in your recovery.
Do you remember feeling safer after like the 6-month period?
No, yeah, I felt safety. I felt safer. Okay. I felt safe that you were going to stay sober. So I meant that. So since I felt safe that you were going to stay sober, I felt like we would have better opportunities to feel safe elsewhere. I didn't know that I didn't feel safe being vulnerable yet. Like I didn't know that I didn't feel safe with you taking money out of the account. I didn't know if I felt safe with you, you know, taking the kids somewhere, doing whatever. Like I didn't know these things yet until they started to happen. And I was like, ooh, wait, I'm having a trigger now because you just don't know.
Yeah. But
That's why there's layers to this.
Roughly the first year, you're just establishing like safety that, oh, he's actually going to do what he said he was going to do.
Yes.
And that was through continually showing up and doing the deal.
Right. That was with you actually making drastic changes within your own habits and your behaviors. Of course, there were other things that started to come out later on, obviously, because your behaviors weren't fully changed yet. I guess I didn't really expect them to be, but also I didn't know what to expect really after that. I just, I thought that, okay, you did get sober. Things are great. I feel safe there. But then things started unraveling later on. Does that make sense at all?
Yeah, no, it makes sense. It's almost like that. Like there needs to be a book, like what to expect when you're expecting.
Yes.
And then parentheses, like your loved one gets sober.
Right. Yeah. So like then whenever like the triggers would pop up within early, like probably within the first year or so, like whenever you would start taking money out of the account, and I would have these triggers, and I'd bring it up to you in a kind way saying, hey, look, this is really affecting me. I don't know why, but I mean, I know why because you used to take money out all the time, but this is really affecting me, and we need to have an open conversation about it. So you would give me space to feel that way. It wasn't like, why don't you trust me anymore? Why don't you just trust me now? Like, I've got this. We're good. You never did that.
No, not one time. I'm actually proud of the fact that I can actually say that.
No, you did not.
I never once said, yeah, but.
No, you did not. You allowed me to have these feelings. But also, again, I wasn't like, I really would love to, whenever we do an in-person workshop, we're going to do like how to respond to triggers and how to bring up triggers. Like I want to have an entire hour-ish or longer conversation on this because I think it's something that would be so helpful and so beneficial for so many people.
Yeah, man. Those things come back to haunt you without you realizing it.
Well, I mean, a lot of the times we react instead of actually bringing it up in a way that's a little bit easier to digest, I guess, or easier to like talk about. Because sometimes like we just get triggered and we just let it out in like a really ugly way. When I know that there's a healthier way to do it because that's how we did it.
You want to tell the story that we got the email on right here?
Go for it.
Okay. So we've got two awesome listeners. They told me I could use their names.
Don't use their last names.
No, I won't.
Okay.
Jill and Mitch. They are absolutely amazing. They've been to in-person workshop. They're listeners of the show. A couple that's been working through, reestablishing trust in the relationship over the last year plus. They've done a really good job. Both of them, they're amazing. They're like model wheelies. They're awesome. They're just incredible people too. But they had a situation that came up this past week. Mitch works in the medical field and works around controlled substances and things like that. And at some point in his past, there had been something that come up as it pertained to his sobriety. And it raises a lot of questions. I mean, you get someone like me who's always loved prescription drugs around prescription drugs. And there's gonna be some part of you that's like, is this okay? Is this not? Are you good? Are you not? And it's really your actions and your behaviors that mean everything. And so Mitch has been working really, really hard at reestablishing trust and doing it the right way, holding space. He's working through his recovery program, and he's very conscious to what he's put Jill through. And she emailed us really beating herself up about the way that she responded to an event that had happened. And without getting into too much detail, something came up about controlled substances that Mitch works with in his job. Mm-hmm. And it was totally benign, had nothing to do with anything that he had done wrong, but it looked like it. And being her in a situation where if this has ever come up before in their relationship, or if she had any doubt at all those triggers came back and haunted her right in this moment. And it was just like, bam. And all of a sudden she's questioning him, and she's throwing like she's grilling him like the third degree. Like, okay, well, did you do this? Did you not? Well, why were you here? Did you even did you even go to work today?
Right.
Because there had been a pattern in the past where he had lied about some stuff. So she had reason to be concerned.
Absolutely.
She was beating herself up. And what I said was, I think this is great. This is a good thing. This is actually progress, because what really happened was she had a valid concern, real questions that anyone would have in her position. Mitch held space for her.
Yes.
I was so proud of him.
Oh,
so freaking proud of him. He held space for her, answered her questions empathetically, understanding where this was coming from, able to put himself in her shoes and really see why she was so upset. And he was just there for her. And everything checked out. There was no wrongdoing whatsoever. It was some procedural thing that his employer was doing. Again, with not going into too many details, but I think you can sort of see where I'm going with this. But there was a couple of days where some testing had to come back and make sure that he's telling the truth. And he, throughout that period, you know, she's feeling anxious, she's worried, and he's just holding space for her. And he's doing his best to reassure her without being overbearing or trying to use his prior recovery as like weaponize it, saying like, how dare you question me? Like, why would you ever question me? Anything like that. And the email was from her feeling like she had really handled this poorly.
I think she handled it great.
I think that you handled it as good as you possibly could in that moment, because these things are going to come up.
Yep.
This stuff is going to come up. You're going to be caught in some situation where it really does look like your old behaviors, even if it's not. And it's in those moments that both of your recoveries are really going to be tested as a couple.
Yeah.
Where if you're like me or Mitch, can you hold space for them and understand where that's coming from? Can you just sit there and be calm and patient and see where this is coming from and just be there for them in those moments? You know, reassure them as best you can without being overbearing or trying to manipulate them into responding differently. And then as the recovering partner or spouse, like Jill or like Paige, in those moments, can you use the tools that you've learned to know that regardless of what happens here, that you're going to be okay? Can you hold some space for your prior self and everything that you had to go through to react the way that you were going to react in that moment, to be triggered? And that's okay. I think that's only normal, right? We get so hung up on there's a right way and there's a wrong way to respond. You're going to respond the way that your biology responds. You're going to be triggered in that moment. And you're not going to have any control over it. You're going to have this fight or flight response. You're going to lash out. You're going to say some things you probably regret. But anyone who's really doing the deal in recovery is going to be able to hold space for that. But for me, what I saw from this and my response to them, which I thought was amazing, was like, this was a trial. This was a test that both of you passed with flying colors.
Yep.
You're going to have these moments. Paige and I had these moments. You're going to have more of them in the future. And guess what? You're going to respond a little better each time. Think of how long you had without safety. And now you have some, but you're not really completely sure of it. It doesn't feel wholly safe. It doesn't feel real all the time. And so you feel like your reality is crashing back down on you when these events happen. The next time that something like this comes up, she'll have tools that she learned through this to fall back on.
Yeah.
She'll have more proof. And like, that's what I was talking about in my Monday episode about trust, is that it is lost in buckets and it's rebuilt in droplets. And this was a droplet in their new bucket of trust that they get to add.
Yes.
This is just one little thing that they get to go back on, and she will feel safer each time. It won't be the last time that something procedural comes up where it looks like he may have done something wrong in his line of work.
Yeah.
It won't be the last time that something comes up where he was at a bar with a bunch of friends or something like that, and they were drinking, but he wasn't. And she's just going to have to trust that. And his actions and behaviors are going to have to back that up over time. We've been through a million of these together.
Oh, yeah.
And each time you probably had your doubts, but each time it gets a little easier.
It does.
When I continue to show up and do the right thing.
Right.
So what I'm saying is you're going to have these moments where it feels like, oh my God, here we go again. And are you able to hold space for them in those moments? And then as the partner, are you able to not crash out on yourself for crashing out?
Yeah.
You know?
Right. Don't beat yourself up for that.
Yeah,
allow yourself to have that, because a lot of the times, sometimes our reactions, like you said, like our bodies will just react. And that's typically what triggers are. Like you'll have one and then you'll just like let it out. But once you learn the tools and you go through it and you just kind of learn how your body reacts to them, you'll learn how to change the way that you react to them.
Exactly. And I think that the next time that something comes up, they'll have this experience together.
Yes.
And this is the kind of stuff that brings you closer as a couple too.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
This stuff brings you closer. This is how trust is rebuilt. Like this is one of the layers that we were talking about, like sobriety trust and the functional trust that Paige is referring to.
I'm not talking about functional trust yet.
It's coming up, but sobriety safety, like this is really what that's about.
Yes.
This is what we're talking about. That's an example, like a real life example of that in practice.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. I'm proud of both of you. You're listening. I know you're listening.
I know.
I'm proud of both of you.
So proud
Truly,
of y'all.
like,
when we saw that, I was just smiling. I thought it was wonderful. Y'all are doing great things.
I think it's amazing that she has the self-awareness to know that she probably could have handled it better, but also understanding like,
I think she handled it fine.
Why would you handle it better? Like,
right. Exactly.
There's that gray area. As a person possibly could.
Absolutely.
There's no such thing as perfection in that game as a spouse or partner. I think in sobriety, arguably there is such thing as perfection. Don't relapse. Put yourself in a position where don't even make that possible.
Yeah.
But yeah, super proud of both of you guys. You're awesome.
Yeah, y'all are great. Okay, so it's just a few other things that I wanted to talk about. It's kind of still on the sobriety safety thing. It's like whenever somewhat of a trigger had been like you being in pain or something like that, right? Like you just not feeling good, or that was a big thing. Like Matt would go and try to get an injection so that he could get pain pills quickly, or he would go and find pills from somebody. So when that started happening in recovery and early sobriety, like we would just talk about the over-the-counter meds that you were taking and stuff. Like you tell me even to this day what you were taking every day. Like you'll say, I'm taking that. There's one thing that he will take occasionally that I know that you take, but you don't even tell me that you take it.
Yeah. I've taken CBD in the past for inflammation and things like that. But like, don't trust this shit. Like this stuff is, they're getting rid of it in the state. And I'm glad, because like you can buy some and like, you don't feel anything at all because you're not supposed to. There's other stuff that I'm just pretty sure they're just selling weed to people.
Right.
Like,
right.
They're just selling weed to people.
Yes.
That's what they're doing.
But
man.
I always know. And sometimes you wouldn't tell me. I mean, you would tell me if like we were having a conversation or whatever. You just don't think about it.
That'll make you like loopy. And I
know.
Don't trust it. Okay.
I know when you take something. I know when you're different. I know when you are not fully there. Engaged. Yeah. And it's crazy that I have that ability to do that, but it's something that I've had to, like, it's something that I built up since we've been together and gone through all of this. That
it's like, I
know.
And like, I'm really careful about not buying the stuff. They call it full spectrum.
Yeah.
Which is like, I think that's a code in those shops for like, this is weed. So I'm careful about buying the stuff that's not that. But this shit is cooked up and no one's regulating it.
You also spend a lot of money on that shit too.
Man, it's expensive.
It is so like expensive. Any of the over kratom and that all of that, like that
can become just as bad of a habit as like a full blown like hard drug habit.
Yeah, I mean kratom is
it's absolutely
awful
insane.
Anyway.
But
they need to take that off.
We communicate like about if I'm taking anything at all. Like I had surgery, and there were some really. It's a narcotic, but it's a light narcotic that I was prescribed. And anytime I've ever had to take it, there was a long conversation about it, and there was a lot of thought about it. We actually did an episode about this, about getting through back surgery.
Back in November.
Yeah, but it's got to be at the forefront of the conversation. Like there has to be transparency there, and it's not just for me and my own accountability. It's also for you and your safety.
Yeah, and to trust you.
Right.
Like I want to be able to trust you. Why we should be able to have these conversations. And you've always done this with me. You've been very honest with it since after you got out of rehab. So you built up that sobriety safety pretty quickly, and you still do it. It's important for our relationship because that is the foundation. That is number one that has to be going on within our relationship.
Yep.
All right. The second one should be emotional and vulnerability safety, but in our experience, that's not necessarily what happened first. The second one is functional trust. So what does that mean? That means that I trust you to handle responsibilities. That's shared parenting. That's household duties. That's like doing, taking care of money stuff, having routines and structure. You're adding on to that layer.
This is where you're trusting me just as a partner in your life.
Yes. Like I stop carrying the whole load. You start to show up and you follow through. And this didn't happen very super quickly after sobriety. You were present, right? Like you would be there to help me with our daughter and stuff, but nothing compared to what you are now. Like it took you a while to get to that point.
Yeah. I think some of that is probably the evolution of, for me anyway, a kid that, I think that I've always said that addiction is partly arrested development. Mm-hmm. And I think some of that is just a slow process of maturation and growing up and becoming more mature.
Yep.
And I was already behind. And then, recovery and everything else, it slowed it even more. So I think some of that's natural, but some of it is obviously going to be stunted because of there's a lack of development taking place within a family unit. And you're not going to show up within that first year, most likely being like super dad, super husband. You'll be doing better. Don't get me wrong.
Oh yeah.
And you're going to be doing better to the extent in our experience, where it makes it worth like looking forward to and investing in for how much better it could get as you keep going.
Yeah. But see, like I wouldn't be able to trust you to do any of this stuff if you didn't get sober first.
Right.
Like that was the prerequisite. Like you had to have that. There's no way that our life would be equal at all right now if you were still using drugs and alcohol. Man. Like you would not be present for our kids. You would not share the household duties. You would not, it would be a complete shit show, honestly.
Yeah. And even if like even if you're pretending as best you can, like there's some people out there that I know that they think that they're being good parents, but if you're using, like, your kids know at some age, they know that you're not present. They know that you're not really there with them. They're not going to respond to you in the same way they would if you were. They're not going to talk to you. They're not going to share things with you. They know when you're checked out. They know the difference. I promise you they do.
So I started trusting you. I mean, I trusted you with our kid after you got home from rehab and stuff, but I didn't fully, wholly trust you with that kind of stuff until years later. And I think that that's fair, just because I was a new mom too. And being a new mom, like I wanted to have the say in a lot of stuff. I did not trust you to make any parenting decisions. It was more me making the parenting decisions. And you allowed me to do that. You didn't want to have that control anyway, or that responsibility, I don't think.
Yeah, that's a horrible thing to say, but like at that point in my life, I didn't trust myself with a lot of that kind of stuff. I was still trying to figure out how to take care of myself.
Yeah.
Like, God, I did my best though, but I wasn't ready.
Yeah. But I mean, like, think about, you were still working on your sobriety safety, like a couple of years after sobriety, because you were, working out all the time and you were doing all your stuff. I always say, like, recovery is selfish. Like, you were still doing that, and you weren't. I had more of the responsibilities as a parent to the kids than you did.
For sure. Those first few years were rough.
Right. But you also, so I think it is difficult when I think about it, like going through, I know it's really hard to have kids in active addiction, but even in early recovery, having kids that were really young and being a first time mom, that was really hard and challenging. I think I blocked out some of that stuff, honestly.
Yeah, you probably just, man,
it's
so
survival mode. I'm sorry,
you're in
Winnie.
survival mode. So
I'm
overwhelmed
sorry,
all the time.
Papa.
It's just kick our dog.
I kicked her dog. I didn't know she was.
Poor dog. Man, that dog, look at my arm. Can y'all see that? I don't know if you can see it. Looks like she drew on me.
He's got some crazy scratches, and he's got really weird scratches. Like, his skin does some weird thing.
TikTok says I have a collagen deficiency.
You've been through this weird TikTok shit. That's what someone told me on TikTok. You're nuts. Okay. So anyway, like the functional trust, like that, that happens in layers, but it didn't happen until the sobriety safety. And it took a while for that to happen.
So once that happens, you're feeling sober. And now we're starting to show up a bit more.
Uh-huh.
And this is probably, you said, like a realistic time frame, a couple of years.
Yes.
Couple of years. Like I want people to think about that.
Yeah. Because like you said, arrested development is important in this. I didn't even think about, I completely blocked that within this entire thing, but that has a big part in your development after sobriety.
Yeah. And I don't know how much of this is just specific to me as an individual versus like everyone else, but I was also in my 20s, and I know that there's some awesome dads out there that are just, man, they're great from the time they have children till their dying days. But I'm not sure how many guys are really great dads in their 20s, just in general. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Still very immature in a lot of ways, still selfish in a lot of ways with your time and things like that.
Yeah.
I know a lot of golfers. Fucking golf, man. I love the game. I can't play it anymore, but
you played it for a long time.
Like, don't you have a family? Like, what are you doing?
Oh my God. It used to piss me off when I was pregnant with our first, when you were in active addiction. You would go golfing all the time. Like, that was your time. Like, go and do your thing, but you were really going to get effed up too, I'm sure.
Both.
Yes, it was all of it.
Golf's one of those games you can do both.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that some of it's for us anyway, probably just being a dumb 20s kid.
I can't imagine. I'm sorry, but I can't imagine you being in early recovery at the age that our kids are right now.
Oh, it's tough. I can't even, it would be so hard. And a lot of people are in that situation.
I know.
I mean, and the thing about addiction, like I'm lucky that I dealt with it when I was younger, because I think that as you wait longer, you don't get to sidestep that development process. It just takes longer. And that's my guess.
Well, what I'm saying is that our kids are very active and active. Like, they're can
you imagine having to
that's
run
what I'm
them
talking about.
around
Like, their extracurricular activity. Like, you're a more present dad. This year has been incredible. The way that you have just like been available to our son. You have stepped up. You're trying to engage him into more stuff. Like, I've been wanting this for our kids for a long time.
Well, they're also at the age where this is like, they've Their extracurriculars have taken off.
Yes, they
It's
have.
gotten wild.
But I love it. I think it's amazing. Our kids need that. I think it's great structure. It builds discipline. It's something that you should have had as a child. But anyway, if you had been in early recovery right now, I feel like our kids would not have gotten the same experience because you would still be focusing so much on yourself that you wouldn't be available to them like you are now.
I think that's fair. I would also, like, for anyone listening, like, don't let that be the reason that you don't engage in this right now. The best time
I'm
is
not
now.
saying that. Here's the thing about this is that this took a long time for us, and our whole part of our whole goal is to like speed up some of this process because we actually have a process. Like, this is a process.
Yeah.
Make you aware of it and let you know, I know some wheelies in the community that the spouses have really they're sober and they've picked up on the parental duties, and they're really they're doing amazing. They're doing great work, and they're actually
forcing
present.
themselves through
They're forcing it through
much quicker rate than I did.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is great.
Right.
I love that.
Right. But I just know that it would be really challenging for a spouse if their partner was in early recovery that was like completely immersed in it. But you had to be in order. That's how I knew that there was going to be sobriety safety. That's where you built the safety, is that I knew that you had to do that stuff, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But fortunately too, because now we have this now.
Yeah, I get ripped on a lot for one specific video we made by saying recovery is selfish, and I stand by it all day long. I never said that it wasn't necessary or vital to the process of really figuring out how to be sober in the world, but I'm just saying it's selfish, right? Selfishness, like the lack of consideration for others. That's the definition, and doesn't mean it's not true. I'm sorry if it hurt your feelings, but it's still selfish. It's not untrue. It's just a part of it.
Yeah.
You know, you have to figure out how that works in your life and figure out a lot of things before you can show up for anybody. You got to figure out how to show up for yourself first, but it doesn't mean that your family's not going to be affected by it. Will they understand it more? Yeah. Than if you weren't doing it, for sure. But it doesn't mean that you're not going to feel the brunt, which is kind of what you're talking about.
Right.
You're still going to feel it. Kids are going to feel it, but you have to go through that. Like, the only way out is through. You have to go through it.
Yeah, for sure. All right. So the next layer is going to be emotional and vulnerability.
Come on.
Vulnerability.
Third time's a charm.
Safety. I was talking before this, and I was like, I can't talk lately. I don't know what my deal is, but like, I am blah, blah, blah. Like, something is wrong with my
Need
head
more sleep.
to that. No, I don't need more sleep.
Overwhelmed.
I guess.
There's too much going on.
I guess. Do not stick that up your nose. That is mine.
For anyone who isn't watching and they're just listening, saying, what is she talking about? I have a
It's my pen.
what is this like?
It's an essential oil pen type thing that has like
it's like aromatherapy.
Yeah, aromatherapy.
It's like some
That's
kind
what
of
it is.
oil in here. It smells really good. It's supposed to calm you.
There's
It smells
calm,
great.
energy, joy. I talked about it on the episode at some point. But earlier, he literally stuck it up his nose like he was... I hate you. Anyway, okay. So emotional and vulnerability safety. So ideally, this is probably one of the most important things within a marriage and in your most intimate relationship. But it took us a while to like fully get here. And there's still times where I'm just like, I don't know if I can talk about this because I don't know if I feel 100% safe talking about this because of old patterns. And this just means I trust you with my inner world. This means like you feel heard, you feel validated, you feel safe expressing your fears, your needs. They don't walk away from a conversation whenever you're trying to have something. So this was one of his coping mechanisms in early recovery. And I mean, not even early, like even further down, is that when we would have an argument or discussion, he would either shut down and be completely dismissive towards me. Like he would give me this face where he's like, I'm not listening to you, or he would leave the house. There were times where he would just flat out leave because he couldn't handle it. I understand now why he did that, because he couldn't handle it. Like you just mentally could not handle it.
Remove yourself from the situation before you say or do something you're going to regret.
Yeah. But I hated it. Oh my gosh. It made me so angry. And yes, we do encourage people to walk away from certain conversations if you are unable to have
There's a time and a place
conversation.
For it.
Yes. He hasn't done that in a long time. We haven't had that issue. But so that would help me, later on, whenever you stopped doing that, when we could actually have conversations. Then you would stop with the Darvo thing, which we talked about in our most recent, was it our most recent episode? I think it was last week's episode. Either way, if you haven't listened to it, go listen to it. It was one of my favorite episodes to record. And then, or getting defensive or anything like that. So this is just it matters because it's building that true intimacy. And that only happens like with the emotional maturity and with this is how you're going to like rebuild that inner trust and feel completely safe. Because there are a lot of people when I talk to them, like, oh, you may not feel safe in your relationship. And they think physically, right? They think, oh, I'm physically safe. I'm safe in my relationship. Everything's okay. But then we're talking about emotional safety. We're talking about being able to have really vulnerable conversations. Like Matt has always been able to come to me and talk about whatever is on his mind. And I will just give him space for that, right? Like I feel like I've been pretty decent with letting you spill your guts. But me, on the other hand, that took a long time to unravel, to have that trust, to have that safety, because you never really understood my anxiety. You never really understood my panic attacks. You didn't really understand, why I felt a certain way. You didn't understand my sensitivity. Like it was really frustrating to you. So I didn't feel safe bringing up any of my fears because I felt like I was going to be completely dismissed or like we couldn't have this conversation.
Or I try to coach you or something.
Or you would try to give me advice or coach me or something like, oh, you need to just do this and do that. And like it doesn't work that way. I'm big on listening instead of giving advice unless asked for it, I guess. But once you stopped doing that, like, and you just let me feel those feels, how much better did our conversations actually get?
No, so much better.
Like I wasn't defensive. I wasn't like my anxiety would calm. Like you would finally calm me. You were not my calm for a long time.
Right. Yeah, man. I think it's really easy, especially if you're in recovery. You feel like you've learned a lot in a short period of time where you suddenly think that you're the guru and you're going to show up and tell someone who's been like really working in life, like actively, how things work. And it's not to say that you don't know anything, but you don't know as much as you think. I promise you, because I was one of these people. Like I get it. And I can only imagine from your side, like part of this vulnerability, when you decide to be vulnerable again, it comes after trust and safety have been established, but it's almost like, it's a risk in some ways, I would think.
Yes, it
is. For a spouse or partner. Like you're really putting yourself out there again for the first time and allowing yourself to be hurt again, possibly. And that's got to be scary to some degree because you become so hyper vigilant about protecting yourself and not letting someone, not giving them enough to be able to hurt you with. Does that make sense?
Yes. And I think it's really difficult to do it with the person who hurt you.
Oh, for sure. I can only imagine.
So I know that when you go into, like, let's say that we split and we went into a different relationship, I would still have these issues, right? Like it would be very difficult for me to trust people. I probably would be, I'm still pretty guarded. But I probably wouldn't be as vulnerable, but it's more difficult, or I don't know if it's more difficult, but I can just, since you were the one who didn't give me that safe space or allow me to feel vulnerable. And now that you've changed, like, but do I know for sure that you're not going to do what you've done before?
Exactly.
Because like that's you, because you've done it before. You have specifically. Like somebody else, I could give them the benefit of the doubt, right? Because I'm like, you haven't lied to me yet. You haven't gaslit me. You are not an addict. There's a clean, like I'm starting with that trust first, I guess. With you, it's different because I know what you're capable of.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's scary. Like it's scary to get vulnerable with somebody that you know has harmed you over and over again in the past.
Yeah, you answered that perfectly.
Even in sobriety, like not just in active, like even in sobriety, these are the types of behaviors that can still linger into sobriety.
Time frame you think for this one?
I don't want to give a time frame on this one. I would hope that this one would happen quickly, but it does. I don't think it does. I think this one takes, for us,
5+ years.
This was at least 5 years of sobriety, I think is important. After that is when it really starts to get a little bit better. Like there were things I could talk to you about, but there were still things like I'm not feeling comfortable having this conversation.
I think it's important that you acknowledge that there's still some things. I don't want people to think that it's all or nothing.
Right.
It's not that it's all or nothing. Mm-mm. It's just if I had to really sit you down and ask you, like, do you feel like you have emotional safety in your relationship? You'd probably go, sometimes, maybe. But when you do, you know it. Yeah. And if I had to ask you today, you'd be like, oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Absolutely.
But there will be some things you feel like you can really open up with and you you're not going to have fear around, and there's going to be other things that you just don't go there yet.
There are some things in particular for myself that I don't feel 100% talking to you about yet.
Today?
Yes.
Wow, we should do that on an episode one day and see what comes out.
Well, it's different when other people are listening. It's not like it's going to be, I mean, it could be honest, but it's not like, I guess, oh my God, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. Like if somebody was secretly filming you, how would you really respond to that?
Like candid versus.
But I mean, I'll tell you the things that it's like just when it comes to my anxiety, like if I have anxiety or something, I don't like talking to you about any of that. It's very difficult. Like I'll bring it up sometimes, but I don't like to have deep conversations about it.
And from your standpoint, is that because up to this point, I'm still haven't shown you that I can handle every one of these situations where I'm just holding space rather than trying to help you through it?
Yeah, I think that you try to get me to do things that make me uncomfortable in a way. Like you challenge me and I appreciate that. But I think that sometimes I feel like I still get pushed where I'm not comfortable being pushed. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
In a way? Because you don't understand it. It's just something you don't understand. You've never understood anxiety. You've never understood like panic attacks or anything like that. Like it's not something that you've ever really understood.
Well, I will continue to develop and work toward being a person that you can rely on for that kind of stuff.
Yeah. But
I'm not going to stop.
What do you mean?
I'm not going to stop trying to be better.
Okay. Thank you. I mean, I appreciate that.
Yeah. But it just goes to show that it's layered, Like even 12 years later, and if there were a competition for best marriage in the world, I would put us in that and expect to win it.
But we're not perfect.
Well,
we
that's
still
the
have
thing,
things.
is that there's still always going to be maybe something where you're kind of guarded, especially after you've been through something like this.
Right.
I just think it's only normal. It's only natural that you're going to have things like that. And some of this may not be related to the addiction whatsoever. You might have something in your life that's just not everyone's going to be adept at handling every situation in the world or that a marriage can offer with someone's personality.
Yeah, I think that's just what it is. Right. Like there are some things that you don't talk to me about because I'm a pain in the ass when you talk to me about it.
Yeah.
So you've kept it. They're boundaries. Those are boundaries.
I'll tell you about it inevitably because I don't keep secrets. But
yeah, for sure.
I don't look forward to it. I'll put it that way.
Right.
I know a couple that had gone through some of this, and it was interesting because there had been safety and sobriety. There had been functional trust rebuilt. There had been emotional safety rebuilt to a huge degree. And the spouse was still pretty angry about a lot of things, still pretty resentful about a lot of things. And they were seeing a counselor at the time. And
we've brought this up before.
From his perspective, like there wasn't much more he could possibly do. And the therapist I thought was pretty interesting, as most therapists don't go here, but
very blunt.
They just said, listen, at this point,
I'm sorry.
You're going to have to give yourself permission to forgive him, or you're going to have to divorce him. You can't have it both ways anymore.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of interesting. Like there's going to be some things where maybe with this anxiety thing at some point, I could be as safe as possible, but you're still going to feel like, I'm just not ready to go there. But it's like, at some point, it won't be my fault. It'll be just something that you just don't want to go there. That's okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Does that make sense?
That's true. Yeah. But I'm not going to divorce you over that. Just so you know.
You know what I mean?
It's my problem at this point. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what you were trying to say in so many words.
In so many words.
Yeah.
I think that, and not to say that this applies here, but there are going to be things like that probably come up in people's situations. Yeah. They're all so varied and different. You're going to have some situation that, at some point it's like, hey, they've made it as safe as it possibly could be. You have to make a decision now. Do you want to allow yourself to reveal that side of you and possibly have your worst fear fulfilled when they push back the way you assume they will? Or could you hold space for them to surprise you?
Yeah.
At some point it becomes your decision.
Yeah, that's true. That's good. All right. So the last one is going to be relationship safety. So this means that I trust that we're a team, that we're not just coexisting. And it looks like shared values, emotional growth, growing together, long-term vision, mutual care. Like this is actually, you depend on each other for certain things, like that's important in healthy relationships. This is going to be the interdependence relationship that you're looking for. This is where your real partnership just really begins and where, it feels like a safe home. Like you feel like, okay, we've made it. We're good. That's where we are for sure.
Yeah.
Of course, I said there were some things on there that it's like, okay, I'm still a little weird about that. Again, that's my own problem that I need to work on. But we are in.
I didn't say that.
It is. I have awareness there. I know it's something that I need to deal with. But relationship safety, like you said, I would put our relationship, our marriage up at the top. Like we do have very vulnerable conversations. We have a very safe home. Our kids are very safe. Sure, we lose our shit sometimes, and sometimes we're just overwhelmed and go crazy. But, we still have a great relationship and a great home. And that's all we can ask for right now.
Yeah, but every layer has to be built beforehand before you get here. But once you get here, like I'm telling you, it is the greatest feeling in the entire world.
But you can't go here without the other layers.
No, you have to work through them.
You have to, like we said, the first one, sobriety, safety. Like you have to have that.
It's
first.
amazing when you get to this point, though, because like you truly have a ride or die in life.
Mm-hmm.
Someone you can wholly depend on and be authentic with and be yourself with and be open with. And you don't have fear of judgment or backlash. It's just, you know that you're dealing with a safe person. You're dealing with someone who sees you 100% and loves you still.
So if you're in a relationship and somebody is saying, why can't you trust me? Why can't you just get over it? Why can't you just forgive me? This is why. This is what needs to happen before you can fully trust somebody again, especially somebody who's harmed you. And these relationships really do impact you and how you trust people outside of your relationship.
Yeah,
it'll completely change your worldview. I was going to do an episode on that at some point.
Yeah, in my episode that came out on Monday, I was talking about various ways that someone can work to rebuild trust, like stuff that I did. Walk you through some of the high level ways at which I rebuilt trust. At the end of the day, though, it's behaviors and time. It's new behaviors and it's time. And you cannot shortcut the time piece of it. You just can't. You can be really awesome for a week, and that doesn't mean a whole lot. You've got to be awesome for a long time.
Yeah.
You don't have to be perfect, but you got to be putting forth some effort.
Yeah,
you
for sure.
You got to be doing the deal. And it's consistency over time, putting effort in over time. You can't fake that. It's not performative. That is the real deal. There's a difference between someone who's willing to put forth and grind for years versus someone who's okay doing it for 6 months and then they fall back into their own pattern, their old patterns. And they're just, this rinse and repeat cycle that a lot of people live in. And it's exhausting. It's exhausting. If you really want to rebuild trust, though, it does rebuild itself in layers. And this is sort of how it works. And it's this over time. This is essentially a high level view, breaking it down into 4 different categories that took place over 10 plus years. But it's not black or white. It's not like you reach this point, you just know you've reached that point. It's progressive and you kind of work into these areas, but you'll know once you've gotten there. And you can probably look in your relationship right now and see some of these things starting to show up. You don't just have to complete step 1 before you can start to work on some of the step 2 stuff. You'll start to see some of the some little semblances.
Well, that's
of
the
that.
foundation.
Well, you can start to see some of this stuff.
When you're not sober?
Well, let's say I've been sober for 6 months, but you're not fully convinced yet. But I'm still I'm picking our kid up from daycare on a regular basis. Like you can start to trust me on some of this stuff without feeling wholly safe on the sobriety thing.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think that you can really build on the second part once the first one's you're really comfortable there.
Yeah.
And that can take a year or more.
For sure.
Before you start to feel really safe. So this is what we mean when we talk about layers of trust and layers of safety and how it's built over time. This is what it looks like. This is the practical way it actually worked out in our lives.
Yeah.
It wasn't right away.
Yeah. And also if, I also want to go back to values too, if honesty is one of your values and somebody's lying to you about anything, if your partner's lying to you about anything, that starts the trust over from scratch. You were honest as soon as you left rehab, or maybe you were in rehab. I don't know. You were honest when you stopped drinking. You were honest about everything. I see when people say, oh, they're sober, but they're still lying about little things. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like just because they're sober doesn't mean anything. If they're still lying about things, that's still going against your values and it's still going to do harm to you. But I know that a lot of people say that, lying has just been ingrained in them and that's just how their behavior is. And that's just what they do. It's going to take a while for them to unravel that. And I don't know how I feel about that statement, because I feel as though we all know that honesty is important, but I do know that whenever you do lie, like I know that some people use it as a coping mechanism too, where it's like, okay, they had to lie growing up or something because if they would tell the truth, they would get in deep trouble or something would happen or it wasn't a very safe relationship.
Yeah.
So they've learned to lie.
I think as a former liar, the hardest one that you're going to have to overcome is lying by omission, stuff that you don't say necessarily.
Yeah.
Like I think a lot of people can pretty quickly correct like lying to someone's face. Not everyone. There's some people that still try to pull that shit, but lying to someone's face versus just not telling them certain things that are going to cause a problem. And so you're lying by omission. You're hiding things. For a lot of people, that's where this stuff crops up. And in recovery, like you've got to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
The first step is being honest with yourself. You have to be honest with yourself, and you have to be honest about what recovery is going to have to look like for you. For a lot of people, that is abstinence. I know there's this huge new movement that like abstinence isn't for everyone. Okay, let me talk to their wives. I just want to talk to their wife.
Yeah.
Before
talk to their
I
family
hear anything
members.
else, I don't disagree necessarily. I just want to talk. I want to see what these behaviors look like and how they play out in relationships. While that sounds great and everything, and I know there are people who do it just fine, I'm not wholly convinced that this is like the best advice to be giving people in a marriage, because I think that so much of that stuff makes lying easier.
Mm-hmm.
It makes deceit easier.
Right.
It's like, if you're keeping that, what else are you keeping?
Yeah.
It's like, come on, man. Like, it's really tough to tear those two apart and segment when you lie and when you don't. It's like, just stop it. Let's just stop it. So, but anyway.
Well, so we're talking about trusting your partner and somebody else in life. Let's talk about what it looks like to trust yourself. So we actually have a program called Independently Strong that will help you trust yourself again, because when you're in these relationships, not only do you not trust other people, you don't trust yourself because your reality has been completely changed. I mean, people are gaslighting you. You're being lied to. You have no idea what's real anymore. But we put together a program with a licensed therapist who is the clinical architect for the program that has 10 modules. It is our experience. It is, he throws some clinical stuff in there. We have some worksheets. We have community meetings every Wednesday with me. Sometimes Matt hops on. And we'll have topics, or sometimes we'll have check-ins. You'll meet other people going through similar stuff. We talk about values, how to set boundaries, and how to really recognize things that are going on within your relationship and how it has possibly affected you. And if you're in the relationship, out of the relationship, whatever, either way, it's for you, because it's going to help you learn how to trust yourself again.
Yeah, that's beautifully done, by the way. You did a great job with that one.
We have, you can get it for 75% off at independentlystrong.com using code Wheelies75, or you can go to twfo.com and there's a link in there as well. Or you can also sign up for Matt's newsletter that he sends out every Monday at twfo.com. We have merch up there, our rocks, our sweatshirts, our hats. I don't think we have any more white hats. I have to double check. We're either out of white or black because we have these in 2 colors, but we're out of one of them. I think. Oh. And then we have some sweatshirts like this. I'm wearing the Wheelies pink sweatshirt. We have stickers and some other things. Just go check it out. Blog, lots of good information. Like guys, we offer a lot of free resources for people. We have the community on Facebook where there's member-led calls almost every day, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. They're amazing. People go on there and you can just listen, you can talk. You'll come off feeling a little bit better, like some weight has been lifted off your shoulders. It's really a beautiful thing.
Even if you don't know where to start and you're new here and you're lost, there's something to be said about just being around other people that get it.
Yeah.
Just knowing in that moment that you're not dealing with this on your own.
Yeah.
You're not the only person in the world who's dealing with this. doesn't necessarily fix anything, but it does make you feel like you're not alone and lost in the world.
No, but
you found your tribe in that moment.
Right. And once you feel that way, it's easier to take the next steps of whatever you want to do, because then you feel like you're not alone. And there's so many people who give amazing advice and their experiences, because we allow crosstalk within our group and within our meetings, because we think it's important for people to share what they've been through and help you get through whatever it is you need to get through.
Yeah, they can
it's
share
a beautiful, beautiful place to be.
They can share what worked for them, maybe what didn't work for them.
Yeah.
And I think that's amazing. You're going to find people that you connect with outside of groups even. We have people who fly around the countries even, internationally, and they're seeing each other and they're meeting up and they met each other through these sorts of calls. And it's a beautiful thing to witness, like people who have really found their tribe in moments where, their family looks a lot different than it did a couple of years ago, but they found a new one. And that's pretty incredible.
Yeah. And they're finding their voice again. They're making big changes within their lives. And it's a really beautiful thing to watch.
Yeah. So. Sometimes they're just getting the support that maybe their partner's not able to offer in that moment. And that's a beautiful thing too. Sometimes you're just doing something for you for the first time in God knows how long.
So what I've heard from some people is when they listen to our podcast, like, I think that we create a safe space for people just by listening to what we say, and they feel calm and they feel like, of course, some people do have some tears, or they'll feel like, oh my gosh, I'm very emotional through this, but it's like a safe type of emotional release. It's not one of those like, oh, this is scary. It's one of those just safe spaces. And we offer that. And I didn't know that was something that we were doing until I've heard people say that.
Yeah, I didn't either. That's awesome though.
Because this is heavy shit, guys. Like the things that we talk about is deep and it's heavy. So I didn't ever really think of it as being like, okay, this is something for people to feel safe over. Like we don't do trigger warnings. We don't do anything like that because we don't believe in trigger warnings. We think that, we had a whole episode on that.
Worse, by the way.
Yeah, it does. It can make things worse. And I think that people, they do have some triggers within the episodes, but then they're also like, they feel better after going through it because they feel less alone. And I'm grateful that we're able to provide that for you, because I know that many of you are not getting that at home. So I just wanted to throw that out, that I didn't realize that was something that we were doing. I was afraid at some point that we were doing the complete opposite.
More harm than good.
Yeah, because we do go deep into these conversations. Like we talk, even in our calls, like we go heavy, y'all. And we laugh though. We laugh and we cry and we do, like, it's real. This is real world talk. And I think that that's refreshing for a lot of people. So I just wanted to thank our listeners for being there and still listening and gaining something from this. Like I'm grateful you're still here. If you are, thank you.
Yeah, likewise. I think you said it perfectly. There's nothing I can add to that. It's amazing. That's all we've got for this week. Thank you for being here. As Paige said, thank you for listening. Thank you for supporting us. Thank you for keeping this thing going. We'll be back on Friday with a Paige's perspective. Deals somewhere in the realm of trust, probably, unless you decide just to go off.
I could totally go off the rails.
Take an exit off the highway and we'll see where we go from there. But that's all we've got. So until next time, I'm Matt.
I'm Paige.
And we'll see you.
Bye.